physically, it's a crystal. Can I present President Yushchenko?
Minister for Economy. This is my wife, Your Majesty.
Your Majesty, Your Royal Highness, Mr. President, Your Excellencies, my lords, ladies and gentlemen. It is with the greatest pleasure that I welcome you to the Mansion House this evening. Built in 1753, it was then, as it is now, a symbol of London as the leading international finance and business centre in the world. But no city has the given right to be world-class. In a fast-changing world, a global financial centre like London is constantly evolving and adapting to changing times. Economic reform and liberalisation are key processes in the success of any open economy in the 21st century, and London needs to continue working with Ukraine as global partners. Its role in understanding and shaping international affairs. To this end, we are delighted that you have come here to award the Chatham House Prize. And now it is my great pleasure to hand over to the Director of Chatham House, Professor Viktor Yushchenko.
Your Majesty, Your Royal Highness, Mr. President, Your Excellencies, my lords, ladies and gentlemen. This is the third time Chatham House has been privileged to host an event at the Mansion House. The first time was in 1929, 3 years after the granting of the Royal Charter, when the occasion was used to thank corporate members for their support of Chatham House. It is good to know that many of the 55 corporate supporters at that time are still members of Chatham House, and some are here tonight as sponsors of this event. The second occasion was the Golden Jubilee celebrations in 1970, when the keynote speech was given by the Prime Minister, Edward Heath. This is therefore the third occasion, which coincides with the 85th anniversary of the founding of Chatham House. We have teamed up with First Magazine to produce a special publication to mark this event, which you will find on your seats at dinner. During these 85 years, many events have carried the Chatham House name. This is the first occasion, however, on which we have launched a Chatham House Prize. The idea came from one of our council members, Raj Lumbar, and is designed to take full advantage of our reputation in international affairs. That is why the prize is given to the statesperson who is judged to have made the most significant contribution to improving international relations in the previous year. The long list was drawn up by our 10 research programs, the short list of 5 by our 3 presidents, Lord Hurd, Lord Robertson and Baroness Williams, and the winner, President Viktor Yushchenko of the Ukraine, was chosen through a ballot of our 4,000 members. President Yushchenko was nominated jointly by our European program and our Russia and Eurasia program. To understand why he is the winner, I can do no better than read to you from the citation sent to all members. Viktor Yushchenko elected as President of Ukraine in January 2005 in the aftermath of the Orange Revolution, demonstrated considerable courage and skill in steering a peaceful process of political change in Ukraine. Yushchenko's achievement as a statesman was to manage a domestic political revolution while simultaneously dealing with neighboring states who have sought to influence Ukraine's political and economic life. Yushchenko's adeptness in handling relations with other states has ensured that Ukraine, as a pivotal state in Eastern Europe and Russia's most important Western neighbor, has not become the cause of a serious deterioration in relations between Russia and the European Union. Furthermore, the peaceful changes in Ukraine have served as an inspiration to others in neighboring countries still subject to authoritarian rule. That's the end of the citation. The Chatham House Prize is a handsome crystal that will now be unveiled. And may I now invite Her Majesty, as our patron, to present the Chatham House Prize for 2005 to President Yushchenko.
Your Excellencies, my lords, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure as chairman of Chatham House, winner of the Chatham House Prize, President Yushchenko. He has set a very high standard for all future recipients of this prize, and the rule of law. Many of us watched the unfolding of the Orange Revolution on our televisions late last year. President Yushchenko's leadership, as well as his personal courage in the face of a brutal attempt to assassinate him, were critical in enabling the Ukrainian people to exercise their democratic power. I'm reminded of a play by Tom Stoppard, the great British political satirist, who was born not far from the Ukraine in Czechoslovakia. In his play Jumpers, which I'm sure many of you know, one of his characters points out, it's not the voting that's democracy, it's the counting. Well, President Yushchenko, you more than anybody can attest to that. And despite the difficulties and the opposing forces, you and your supporters inspired that huge crowd to hold out on the streets in the bitter cold to force a fair election. The Chatham House Prize honors that achievement. I would also like to thank the Lord Mayor and the Corporation of London for their generous hosting of this event at the Mansion House in the heart of this most international of cities, make it a particularly fitting as well as a particularly lovely setting. And finally, I would like to thank all of the corporate members and sponsors, in particular the lead sponsor for this evening, the Royal Dutch Shell Company. The financial support that all of our corporate sponsors provide is absolutely critical in enabling enabling our independent, non-political, non-profit institute to survive and prosper. I shall now close this award ceremony and invite you to join me in congratulating President Yushchenko and thanking all of those who have made this event possible. Thank you.